Stories on Media. This is Coming Out Stories. It's a podcast about one of the most important conversations of your life. I'm Emma Goswell. You're now going to hear from Saski. She's a singer and a Pride host. She did struggle coming out at school, but now works for Educate and Celebrate. Have a listen, because this story includes possibly one of the best parent reactions to a child coming out.
You know, everyone always says, I always felt different. What was that difference? And obviously at the time you didn't realise what it was. But I remember playing Kiss Chase with the girls at school, definitely. I remember doing that, yeah.
Did you catch any of them, though?
Yeah. I always tried to catch them, yeah. So, I remember that. I remember this specifically, remember the time when I actually realised that, oh my gosh, I really have a crush and fancy my drama teacher. Oh. So I remember that, and basically what it was my drama teacher, and I was all of a sudden just massively in love with her. And I was in an all-girls Catholic school, and I was like, I can't obviously tell anyone about this because I'm going to get, no one's going to appreciate that. But yeah, I can remember being so excited about the fact that I was really into her and fancied her. But obviously I couldn't tell anyone. But I was excited. So it was a weird thing.
So did you eventually ever tell anyone about the drama teacher? You couldn't really tell the drama teacher, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't tell. But the thing is, I think I was so blatant with the drama teacher that I think she knew. Oh, because you know what, teacher, people, we don't realise this when we're like kids and stuff, like how obvious things are, maybe. Yeah. Where I'd walk past her and I'd lick my lips, I'd just be staring her in the eyes. I know, it's quite brazen, wasn't I? About 13. And I was like, we'd be licking my lips, I'd be just staring at her all the time. I'd go up to her often and say, I think I've got something in my eye, can you check? Just so she would touch my face, like I was probably a little pervert, really. And that didn't stop there. So I can remember doing that. But I knew I was totally in love with her. And the reason I knew that is because I actually was brought up in pubs. So I was brought up in pubs, and I used to come home from school. On a regular basis, and every day go into the pub, put on the music of Lionel Richie, Hello, Is It Me You're Looking For? And I'd lie there on repeat in the bar. Okay. I'd lie on the sofa and just listen to it over and over. And as an adult now, I'm looking back thinking, people must have thought to themselves, what is this girl doing? Every day she's coming home from school, lying on the sofa, listening to Hello, Lionel Richie, Hello, on repeat.
I never thought of it that was being a gay anthem, to be honest.
Well, I was just hoping, Hello, Is It Me You're Looking For me drama teacher. So I was just in love, the line of being alone with you inside my mind. So it was just a bit like, can I be alone with you outside my mind, please? But yeah, so that was my love. That was my love.
So when was the first time you expressed it and actually told anyone about the fact you might be gay? Or
oh gosh, so it was a couple of years later, and it was a close friend. But I tell you what, I can remember that moment, and I really feel sad for myself or people when they have this, because that whole thing about you're apologising for it. So I think to myself now how proud and out I am. I was like, oh my gosh, I hate the idea that people were apologising for it. And I can remember saying that whole line of, I'm really sorry, but I'm a lesbian, or I'm gay, or, that whole... And I remember doing that, and I remember being so apologetic about it. Now I'm like, oh my God, singing it from the, shouting it from the rooftops. My friend was great, though. She was good. But then it was only she knew. Yeah. I think I was about 17, maybe, 16.
So did you make her keep it a secret then? Because you felt some sort of sense of shame, do you think?
I think, yeah, definitely. I do, because obviously if there's no one around you, I'm not going to give you my real age. My showbiz age is obviously 21, but I was born in the 80s. Yeah. And basically, I work in schools now in education, for Educate and Celebrate, and we do a lot of LGBT work to support young people in coming out and being confident and feeling empowered to be themselves. We didn't have that in schools in my day, and even before, obviously, and it was all off the back of, Section 28 and everything else, so no one was officially talking about that. Yeah. So there was shame, and even at that point, it's like, as much as you may see or known gay people or LGBT plus people, no one was officially really open. There might be the odds, like I say, living in a pub, there were some gay people, but they weren't. There was older gay people, and it was just almost token people. So as a young kid, going, I'm a lesbian, or thinking I'm attracted to women, I was very much like, I really can't tell anyone like this because I'm like this, because I don't know, I don't relate to anyone else my age that I know that are,
But obviously that changed, because as you said, you're very out and proud now. So When did that happen, do you think, that you got the courage to say, do you know what, I don't care who knows?
Yeah, it definitely comes with time. So when I did officially finally come out to my parents, that whole big thing, when I came out to my parents, I remember I was out drinking with my friends, and then I said to them, listen, I don't know if you're the same, but it was like when I told one person, it was like you have these urges to go, oh, I've got to tell you now. I've got to just tell you now. Yeah. So it was like that, and I was like, okay, I've got to tell my parents. And I went home, I went home and I was thinking, if my parents are still up, then I'm going to go into their bedroom. I think I was about 18. I'm going to go into their bedroom and I'm going to tell them. Anyway, so I walked upstairs. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I opened my parents' bedroom door. And then I was like, the light was off. I was like, yes. And as I closed the door back, went to shut the door, my mum went, what do you want? And I went, oh, God. So I started crying my eyes out. And then my mum got up, bless her, went downstairs. And and she was like, I just couldn't talk. I was just so uncontrollable with tears and like just panic and worry, but I was like, I've got to just do this now. I remember telling her, and she was like, do you want me to say a few things? And she was like, are you pregnant? And I was like, no. Are you taking drugs? I was like, in my head, a little bit, but I'm not going to tell you. But no, she was like just trying to work it out. And then she said, are you gay? And I remember at that point thinking, yeah, I am, but I still couldn't say officially. So I said I'm bisexual because I still said, I felt for me, that's a bit more accepting for them if I said I was bisexual as opposed to going, I'm a lesbian or gay. So that's what I did. So anyway, so my mum was amazing and she just said to me, listen, you can tell me anything, anytime. Like, I don't want you to ever feel like you can't be yourself and, you know, I love you no matter what and everything, you know. And I was like, don't tell Dad. Because my dad, he's from Liverpool. He's a Northerner, ex-sailor, ex-boxer. He's a proper geezer, do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, mate, my dad's not a Republican. And, like, you know, I was thinking, and he's lovely, my dad, but you just worry and you get all these silly ideas in your head about how your parents are going to be. Anyway, so I said to my mum, please don't tell Dad. She said, okay, I won't tell your father. I was like, okay. And then I came home from work the next day and came in knowing I've obviously had that big conversation with my mum and I was like, I'm still getting over that and getting used to it. And then my dad, he walked in and he just handed me a bottle of beer. And I said, what's that for? And he went, he's a Scouser. And he went, that's for coming out the closet. Like that. And I just like cried.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I just cried a bit and I was like, oh my God. And he said, no, you know we love you. Do you know what I mean? Don't worry, we love you and it's okay. And I felt I was just...
So she did tell him?
She did bloody tell him, but I'm pleased she did. Yeah. But the thing is, I didn't know until years later that apparently my dad cried every day for 2 weeks after that because he was just... But obviously he never showed me that. So I was so lucky that they was just supportive. And then they was like, well, you got to go and tell your auntie, you got to go and tell your family. I've got a big family. I was like, oh, God, I do this massive coming out stuff now.
But it's interesting because they always say no one really throws a party when they find out their child is gay, but actually that's almost the equivalent, isn't it? Your dad was so pleased. He was like, have a beer. Congratulations. Yeah. I've never heard anyone have that.
I know. Well, this is the thing. I mean, I think the thing for your parents is they panic. They worry about how people are going to perceive you, how if you're going to get bullied, if you're going to have issues about being gay and stuff like that. I think that's a big worry for parents. Not so much about the idea of that you maybe are gay. I don't know, but they were very supportive. And even now, you know, they did used to say to me, my dad at one point, he was a bit like, all right, you know, your private life's your own, so that's okay. And I was like, well, Dad, I've come out of the closet now and I'm not going back in it.
You're going to meet my girlfriends.
yeah. Didn't like any of them. But, you know, hence all exes. No.
That's whether you're straight or gay, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. No, so that was it pretty much. That was it.
It's very interesting. My story is very similar. I also got the menu, but from my dad, like, are you on drugs, are you pregnant, are you gay? I had the exact same list.
Yeah. I know, that's the thing, isn't it? It's the worry list for the kids, for the parents.
Yeah.
But like I say, I think naturally they will just worry. I mean, I'm a mum myself, you know, my son's 8 now, and I'm thinking I'll probably have the same conversation. Well, I won't be saying to him, are you pregnant? But, you know, have you got someone else pregnant? But, you know, I think it's just a natural thing. You just want to tick off all the worst possible things it might be, and then go, right, what is actually the problem? So then you feel to yourself, okay, it's not actually that bad. It's all right, you know, so... Yeah.
So have you had issues coming out at work? I mean, you're a singer, but have you ever had issues coming out?
No.
Did you ever question being out as a performer?
No, and I was very... I mean, I just sing and perform on the queer scene all the time. So, and obviously I work for Educate and Celebrate, so we do go into the schools to make them LGBT plus friendly. So that is my job, making sure I'm out and proud.
Yeah. Uber gay,
yeah, exactly. Queen of queers. So I I think because I had good support from my parents, that gave me that confidence to just be myself. So it was always a bit. It was almost a bit like I'll go, oh hey, I'm Joe, or I'm Saski, I'm a lesbian. You know, initially you go, I've just got to tell everybody. I've just got to keep telling them. But no, I've been lucky because I was confident in myself about it, and that's the difference. I think if people are not confident in themselves because of the experiences about coming out, that's going to have a massive impact, whether it's positive or negative. And obviously, if it's a negative impact, people are still have that. You do have that shame, you do have that worry, and you're not as confident of going, oh yeah, I'm gay, I'm here, until you find that yourself.
So you work with a lot of young people. What do you tell them, young people that are really struggling to come to terms with their sexuality or gender identity? What advice do you tell them?
Well, I think the thing is, you need to listen because everyone's got a different story, everyone's got a different situation. You know, the idea of what we do in schools is about making sure that the schools are their safe space. We can't obviously control what happens outside, but in schools we set up Pride Youth Networks, which is one of my projects, when it's about empowering the young people, and that helps them to network with other like-minded friends, feel like they've got that support with their making changes around their school. So it might be policy changes, it will be updating visibility around the school, so creating LGBT plus visibility. So once they start doing these little changes, they start feeling empowered themselves. They're given assemblies and stuff like that to say, we're lesbian, gay, bisexual, what does that language mean, and to getting people to be talking about it and open about it. And the thing is, I would always say to my young people, don't let anyone ever tell you that just because you're LGBT plus, wherever you are on that spectrum, that, you're not worthy or you can't be yourself, or, it will take time, but keep your friendship, support your networks, and keep everyone close to you who keep the good people around you, because that makes a big difference as well, and know that actually you're all amazing, so. Yeah.
But how brilliant that's going on, because certainly I was at school in the 80s, and, we hadn't even had Section 28 yet, but there's been such a hang-up from that. Yeah. Isn't it great that young people now can be empowered enough to have an organisation like Educate and Celebrate coming to school and make it more visible?
Yeah, it is, and it really does make a massive difference. But the thing is with that is that that's what we want. We want it to get to a stage where people aren't apologising for their sexual orientation or their gender identity, and by putting all these changes in schools, making it a whole school approach, that's the most important thing, because then it's just raising awareness basically, and saying that whoever you are, no matter how you identify or who you are as an individual, that you should just be able to be yourself, and that you can be the best version of yourself by doing that.
A big thank you to Saski for taking time out of the Diva Music Festival that she was hosting last year to talk to me. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. We'd also love to hear from you on Twitter. You can find us there at Come Out Stories. I'm Emma Goswell, and Coming Out Stories is a What Goes On media production. Next time round, you'll hear from Mark. Mark grew up in rural Wales, but it was appearing in Stars in Their Eyes that led to him coming out.
So that kind of outed me to my dad. The spangly outfit, the bleach blonde hair, I had a pink feather boa, and I think I did it a bit too well.